Hello and welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, hi, my name is Ness and I like to talk about books. Today I have with me 10 books that if I don't read in the next year and get rid of them following that, I'm getting rid of them full stop. They are not going into 2026 with me. The concept of this is these books will self-destruct, and that was created by Becca and the Books, I believe. So shout out to her for creating the concept of this. I definitely needed to highlight some books on my shelves, which I was not going to be taking into the following new year. I do actually have my January TBR themed around reading the oldest books on my shelves, because I was already aware that a lot of these books that I have on my shelves, I've owned them for like 10 years and they're still unread, and it's likely that they're unread for a reason. And the way that my reading taste is changing and developing, some of these I feel like even if I read them now, I'm not going to like them, so what's the point of keeping on to them? But I'm also at the point where my TBR is absolutely massive. Most of these, I think about 70% is unread. And all of those unread books I actually genuinely want to read, so I need to just be making space by getting rid of books. And usually when I have read a book, if it's like 3 stars or less, I do get rid of it. I only keep books that I've read if I really enjoy them, and that's why hardly any of these books are actually read. But I can't just keep gravitating towards newer books that I do read. I really need to think more about those long-term books on my shelves, which I do actually want to read, but I can't just keep holding onto them for no reason. And I think one of the biggest ways my reading taste has changed since being more so active in the bookish community and Booktube is that 5 years ago I was enjoying young adult a lot more than I do now. Now I definitely gravitate towards my adult books on my shelves, and I feel like the young adult books are just being dragged along for the ride every year. So when I've picked out this list, I've identified mostly the young adult on my shelves, which I need to try them, but if I don't, that's okay, but they have to go. Please let me know what your thoughts are on these books, because if some of these are actually just genuinely bad books, then I'll just get rid of them. I do like to go to this bookshop in Alnwick in Northumberland called Barter Books, where you can take 20 paperback books and you visit, and you'll get credit that you can spend in store on other secondhand books. And I'm at the point now where I wouldn't be able to take a single book with me on my next trip because everything I want to read. So I do need to start actually building up a bag of books to take. So I'm hoping that these will form the foundation of that with your help. So the first book on this list is Law by Alexandra Bracken. This was a Fairyloot book before I had my Fairyloot subscription, so I didn't get the Fairyloot edition, but I'm so pleased because I didn't like the cover on that, and I don't think I'm in the minority by saying that. This is a young adult book set in New York, but in this world, every 7 years for 1 week only, Zeus punishes the other gods by turning them mortal and making them walk the earth while they're hunted by the descendants of ancient bloodlines who are eager to kill a god and seize their power and immortality. She finds Athena gravely wounded and decides to join the hunt to try and help. Reviews for this haven't been great. I do like Percy Jackson, so I do like a Greek mythology modern day setting book, especially in children's stories, but I'm not too sure about this one, so I'm open to suggestions about whether to give this a go or whether to get rid of this. The next book is The Warrior Heir by Cinder Williams-Chimer, and this is a book that definitely Booktube influenced me on in about 2014 maybe, which I've just realised is 10 years ago. That's so bad. And I still haven't read this. This is book 1 of the Heir Chronicles. I don't know anything about this book anymore because it's been that long since I got it. I can't remember anything about it at all apart from its young adult. High fantasy. The main character is called Jack and he's part of an underground society of magical people. It's a coming of age novel. I just don't know if I care at this point for a book that I've had on my shelves for 10 years. I might get rid of this one straight away. Apologies to Jesse. Is that what they're called? I think he's called Jesse, who influenced me to buy this but clearly to not read it, so this might be on the chopping block sooner rather than later. The next book is actually in my January TBR, so I will be at least trying this, and I think this might be one that I enjoy. It's Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. This is a contemporary sapphic novel. It's one of the first that went popular. I think I've had this for about 5 years, but I think it came out about 10 years ago. This is of the era of, in the front it says other books you might enjoy, and it says Anna and the French Kiss, I'll Give You the Sun, Will Grayson. So that kind of tells you like what era this is. Very old at this point, I'm very aware. I feel very old holding these books in my hands. I will be at least trying this in January. I think I've outgrown this in this era. The next book is also on my January TBR because it's a book that I've had for a very long time, and it's the Gav Deception by Kirsten White. This is a King Arthur retelling, but more female based. This is the first book in a trilogy, so if I enjoy it, I might continue on with the series, but I just don't know how I feel about starting young adult series at this point. Even when I have enjoyed a book one in a series that is young adult, I haven't pursued the rest of the series because I just have too many books on my shelves that I want to read. I don't know whether reading this is just going to be a waste of time if I don't intend to continue, whether I like it or not. But because I own it, I feel like I have to read it because I have spent money on this, so I should at least read it. Or I could trade this in for credit. I don't know, but I have heard good things about this. I think I actually would enjoy this. Of all of the books that I've spoken about so far, I think this one is the most highly rated. And I do love a good fairy tale folklore retelling. I'm going to at least try this in January anyway, and we'll see how I get on. The next book I have started and DNF'd at page 48, but kept it because I thought maybe I just wasn't in the right mood. And it's Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. Aveyard? I am so sorry. I tried. Also the author of Red Queen, of which I haven't read, but I did own it and got rid of it many, many years ago. This one I thought was going to be more up my street because this is more of like an adventure young adult novel. There's 5 characters. It feels very D&D like: a squire, an immortal, an assassin, an old sorceress, and a pirate's daughter scrambling together to try and save the world. Anything that takes the blueprints of like the Lord of the Rings and that style of like working together across all differences to try and save the world, I usually enjoy. But I don't know what it is about this, but I read the prologue and I just couldn't understand what was going on. And I was reading this like, I'm pretty sure this is young adult. Am I thick? Why don't I get it? So I put it down and I just didn't go back to it. But I've had this for a few years now. It's a chunky book. If this goes another 12 months and I haven't read this, then I just have to get rid of it. The next book is Seven Devils by Elizabeth May and Laura Lim. This was an Illumicrate pick once, but I didn't have the subscription at that point and I waited to get it in paperback. It's sci-fi, spaceships, empires, resistance. But I haven't heard a lot of good things about this book, so I am a little bit worried. I used to really enjoy space sci-fi, but I've realised now that I lean way more into whimsy fantasy, so I don't know whether my reading tastes have just changed so much that I won't enjoy this anymore. I never gravitate towards picking up a sci-fi book now, if I'm honest, whereas in the past it used to be really balanced between sci-fi and fantasy. Give me frolicking in the woods with elves any day over high stake space. See, I think space things now just give me an existential crisis. I just think too much about how small life is, and I read to escape it, and when I start reading space operas, it just takes me right back there. And same with the next book. This was also an Illumicrate pick. This is Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell. Space, planets, empires, resistance all over again. Do I really need to read both of these novels? Should I get rid of one and just try one? Which one? You please let me know which one of these is worth trying and which one should just go straight away to help me build my credit. This one does seem to have the element though of like solving a murder, and I do really enjoy that. If I've got like a little bit of a murder mystery to solve in any genre, I'd enjoy that. So this one might be more up my street. The next book is another young adult. It's Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. I think actually if I read this, I would really enjoy it, but again, it's just another young adult and I'm trying to really clear them out. I've had this for many, many years as well. I think maybe about 4 or 5 years, and I just can't keep leaving this on my shelves and reaching for everything but this book. It's a fantasy book with samurai, so it sounds pretty good. Julie Kagawa is a very famous author. She also wrote the Talon Saga and the Iron Fae series, which actually I think I tried once at the library and didn't enjoy. But this is actually nearly 450 pages. Is it worth it? The next book is a Fairy Loot book, and it's from the young adult subscription. I've typically not kept a lot of my young adult subscription books from Fairy Loot, and it's 7 Faceless Saints, but this is actually one that I want to try. I might think this is a fine book, but I don't think it's going to be anything amazing, and it is also the start of another series. As a Fairy Loot special edition, it's fine. It does have nice end papers, but it's really nothing special compared to what they've done this year. It is also signed, so this would get me quite a bit of credit at Barter Books, and it is a fairly book from 2023. I think taking this into 2026 is a bit of a stretch. But I have heard mixed things about this one, but I'm open to trying it. And last but probably not least is another Fairyloot young adult book, and it's Sing Me to Sleep by Gabby Burton. This one is actually a really nice special edition. I love the digital printed edges. It matches really well with the rest of the edition. The art is very beautiful, but again, it's just young adult, and I'm finding that I just don't enjoy young adult as much anymore. I think what I'll see of my shelves come this time next year is way less young adult on my shelves and way more adult and epic fantasy books. And hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll actually find reasonable gaps in my shelves for me to like keep nice things in trinkets in nice lights. I feel like my floor might give in at some point. When it's January and when I have more time, I really want to catalogue my books, put them into a spreadsheet, talk more about the unread books that I have, the books I've read and everything, and what series they're part of, so you can get a much broader understanding of the books that I've got. But I really want 2025 to be more of a focus on the books that I do read over the books that I am buying. But hopefully I've made a start by identifying 10 books which are not going to be taken with me into 2026. But 10 really isn't enough when I know next year I'm going to buy way more than that. So thank you for watching. I hope everyone is well on the run up to Christmas, and I hope to see you in my next video tomorrow, if I make it, because this is exhausting. But I love it. And thank you so much to everyone who's commented saying that they really look forward to these videos every day. It's helping them get through tough times. Like, that is, to be able to do that for someone, it's just amazing, because I've been there so many times in the past, especially around Christmas when I've really struggled. So thank you so much. If you take anything away from these videos, truly know I am so grateful for your support. Bye guys.